So you started your YouTube channel because we'd already started ours 2 or 3 months before, and you thought they can do it, I can do it. Has it evolved since that first start? What have you done have you changed anything? Have you changed your concept? Have you diversified at all?
I think what I have done is I've improved. Those early ones were done with my phone, and so they were not very good quality in terms of the photo images, maybe not very good quality with the sound. I remember being blissfully unaware of how you could change the length of images that you have on your video, and trying to make my voice last as long as the image that was there. So there were times that I was speaking very slowly in order to make sure I took up the time, and other times I was rushing through it really quickly like that. So I think I've understood more, and I think I've learned more as I go on. You know, things like transitioning between images and dissolving and fading and that sort of thing. So it's been quite a learning process for me, really.
Yeah, I remember I edited your first few videos before I decided that it was time for you to try yourself.
Right. That must be very difficult for me, because I was sending you pictures and films and my voice separately for you to try and glue them together and make some sort of sense. And somehow you didn't.
There was a lot of stuff being sent. I remember that
myself. So
yeah.
So it just goes to show, you know, if you're a newbie and you're not really sure what you're doing, if there's somebody out there who could help, I mean, you're off to a start, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I mean, it's been about a year now, I think, and it's been really, really good fun. Very, very interesting to do it over this year. You know, and I think the subjects that I'm doing are things that are very interesting for me to do. So I, you know, really enjoy doing them. Sometimes I sort of think, oh, I've got to do another one. But when I get out there, and you feel that too sometimes. When you get out there and do it, you can get absolutely enthralled in it, really. The stuff I've found out, the things I have learned, you know, have really stunned me. I thought I knew a lot about this city anyway, but I've just learned so much. It's been great.
So, John, for those people who don't know Norwich in Norfolk, in the UK, why would they be interested in watching your channel? Why would somebody who's not familiar with Norwich have an interest in what you're doing?
Well, I think that you need one of two interests, really. One is perhaps travelling, so you might want to travel to Norwich and see it for yourselves. The other, I think, is history. I think sometimes it doesn't really matter what place you might be watching in terms of something historical. It's just the concept that this is something that happened in the past, and you can then actually relate it to perhaps somewhere that you do know. You know, I don't think it's compulsory that you have to know Norwich, but I think the comments I get from subscribers suggest that most of them, in fact probably all of them, either do know Norwich or have known it in the past.
Right. So how could you encourage new subscribers to actually, be interested? What do you think you could do? Or if you've got any ideas in the chat, please, or in the comments, if you're watching it on playback, what can John do to attract more subscribers? Or have you got some ideas, John? Can you hear me?
Well, how can you attract
more subscribers? Yeah, bearing in mind, you know, people from out. Yes.
I think you said, how can I attract more subscribers?
Yes.
Well, really, at this moment in time, I would like to attract one more subscriber.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah, I would really like to attract one more subscriber at this moment in time, because I have 1,099. Go up to 1,100.
Well, there you go in the chat.
Back, so that was very annoying.
Oh, I know.
I'd like one more subscriber.
That's happened to so many people. You get to a level, you know, like say you get to 1,000, and then you'll drop down 2 or 3, and oh God, it's so annoying. And it's those milestone levels that it happens. And so what's happening in the chat, Lucy?
Well, it seems like, well, my husband's here, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. And Flarix and you say it's working now. We logged off and logged back in.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, guys. We're at lunch now, and I have my sound off, but it's good to see you all again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yes.
Even when you're on lunch, bless you for doing that.
Yeah.
And hi to everyone. If you are here, then say hi. And if you weren't here at the beginning, we have been having some technical issues. So if we do disappear, or you can't hear us, or you can't hear Dad, then we'd appreciate it if you let us know so we can sort it out, because it's all appearing normal on our end at the minute. Yeah. So yes, thank you very much for those of you who've helped us out.
Yeah. You mentioned about the filming, and when you show pictures of Norwich now and Norwich then, and you don't actually, you do a commentary, but you don't actually show yourself in the video. Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think, you know, that viewers will be able to relate more to your channel if they actually saw you?
Well, look at me now. I think you realise why it's a bad thing. Well, why it's a bad thing to have me on screen. To be honest, I think there are times when you look at videos that people do, and you think they really shouldn't be showing their faces. I don't mean that to be rude about.
Is he talking about us?
Yeah.
They look nervous and unprofessional. I think what you're saying is right, but you know, you're not coming over very well because your camera's going all over the place, things like that. And I think certainly with the subjects I'm doing with my video, I think it would be wrong of me to impose my face onto
Yeah. I think there is a lot to it, isn't there? Especially if you're talking and you're out and about, you need a good mic, because you do voiceover when you're back home, don't you? But when you're out and about, it's quite hard to get good sound. It's quite hard to get steady footage if you're doing this. And it's something maybe that people can build up to when they get more skills, if they want to start not showing their face, but then they get more equipment and more confident, and maybe in time show their face. But you're right, it can be a lot of pressure for some people if they're not used to being on camera.
Yeah, actually we've got a comment.
I think my videos are not particularly long. They're 5 or 6 minutes typically, and I think if I started showing my face, that would have to be additional to what I want to show. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Because otherwise, you know, if it's still going to be 5 or 6 minutes, I'd have to cut out some of the stuff that I want to include in the video. So it doesn't feel right to me to do that. Really.
No. I think it must be terribly difficult, you know, if you're out and about filming. And Lucy and I don't do that very much. We usually are on the comfort of our couch.
Yeah, well, it's very hot here to go out.
Yes, and I know we've got some comments. I think I saw from John and Cara.
Hi, John and Cara. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're travel vloggers, and I know they've spoken to us before that, you know, it's not easy. You set your camera up, you get ready, and then somebody will photobomb you, or there'll be a motorbike, you know, speeding past, or, you know, it is very difficult to actually do the sound in a outdoor situation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's one channel that I follow which is to do with football. It's called Footy Adventures, and what he does is very good and interesting stuff. And he comes over, and I hope he's not watching this. I think he's highly unlikely. He comes over as very personable, you know, a very nice bloke who knows what he's doing. But his camera is all over the place, and it just is difficult to watch sometimes.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah, we've been thinking about getting one of those like gimbals, which are supposed to steady the camera. And I know
have that. I think he holds it on a, well, I suppose you call it a selfie stick or something, you know. And because he's moving around like this. I mean, maybe that's all part of what he's trying to create, an impression of movement. I don't know. But it can be quite difficult to watch, which is a shame, because I like the content that he puts out.
Yeah.
I think something's happened with our description, because we always link to the channels in our description, and John and Cara said that it's not there. So can you say what your channel name is? And we'll, after we've done the live, everybody will check our description that that's in there and you can find it easily.
Yeah, I think you would just do a search on YouTube for John Atkins, Lost Norwich.
Yeah, do you want to type that in?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, can't spell my own dad's name. John Atkins, Lost Norwich. You're zip lining in the picture, aren't you?
Sorry? I'm zip wiring, yes.
Yes, zip wiring. Ryan says, I think people like the uncut raw footage when people are out and about. Sometimes things are too clean and polished. Just depends on the person, I guess. We don't all have film crews with us. Haha.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I wouldn't call mine clean and polished, but I think they'd be dirty and mucky if I took my camera out and about with me and started filming myself. But that's only me, and I think it's also because of the content that I do.
Yeah, lots of your content is beautiful old photographs. I mean, you have found the most amazing photographs, and I love the way that you take the present scene, your road or some houses, or lane, and you intersperse those old pictures of the old pubs, a church that's no longer there, lots of old houses, and seeing how those two relate to each other is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, what I think I am gaining through this is I use most of the old photos that I use are from a website called George Plunkett, who was a photographer over a period of about 70 years, who took loads and loads, thousands of photos of Norwich of great quality, from the 1930s up to the 2000s. And I'm probably guilty myself when you're faced with, 3,000 or 4,000 photos, just to flick through them. Yeah, that was it. But for me doing these videos now, I'm having to do more than that. I'm having to look through and actually follow where they are in the present day. And so, that comes back to what I said earlier about me learning so much through doing this.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's so important, isn't it? You know, we say that you yourself actually enjoy what you're doing and get a thing, you know, a lot from it. And then it sort of transposes itself to the public.
I think if you're enjoying it, then it comes across and other people are more likely to enjoy it too. I think if you're always thinking, oh God, I don't want to do it today, or, you know, I've got to make this video and I'm not really interested in it, that can come across too. So I think it is important to do something that you're interested in and that you're finding fun.
Yeah. So you've recently become monetized, and I know you've got special plans with your with any income you get from YouTube, and I wonder if you could share that with everybody, what you're going to do with the money from the your YouTube channel.
Well, I feel I've been very lucky to have got the permission to use these old photos from the George Plunkett archive and others as well. You know, other websites have given me permission to use their photos, and so I feel, in a sense, it's a bit of a circular giving something back type thing, that I am looking to donate the money I get from YouTube towards replacing some of the plaques around the city. There are a load of circular plaques. Many of them are relatively recent and relatively small, but some of the older ones are faded to the extent that you can hardly read them, and cracked and so on. And it seems something that's manageable in how much it might cost to put the money that I get from the monetization towards that. At the moment, though, I have a problem finding out how to do that. Nobody seems to want to take this money from me. Not that I've got any yet. That's the other thing, of course. At the moment, I think I'm on about $38. I'm not really sure how that money will arrive in my bank account. Maybe it comes by check, because they've got my address. Because at one stage during the sign-up process, you had to I think use a code that they sent.
We've just done that,
that yesterday. Yes, yes, we did. Yes, to verify this was our address. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I imagine some way this money will find its way to me, but I'm not really sure how.
Well, if those of you
for the future, that, you know, it can be put towards these replacement funds.
Yes.
Yeah. John and Cara say, I think it's a wonderful way to give back. Yes.
And they're doing a similar thing, aren't they?
That's right. Yeah, they're giving away their revenue to the charity too, which is just lovely. So yeah, I'm sure someone will take the money from you at some point.
Yes.
But if anyone's monetized,
stand out outside the forum or something and give it away.
So I'm wondering, because I have my own thoughts, but what do you think makes Norwich special?
Well, there is, I think, sort of a concept that people might understand of going back to your roots. And although I've never lived in Norwich until the last year, it's a place that I've often visited, and not from very far away. I mean, I'm not.
I was going to say,
I know, it makes it sound like
you're only about 4 miles out of the city, weren't you?
You know, I worked in Norwich. I would go to the theatre in Norwich, all those sorts of things. Go to pubs, cinema, but then you go in for a specific purpose. What I'm doing now I'm living here, is literally just going out for a walk and finding these little alleyways and things. I really feel I'm coming to understand how the city was put together over 1,000+ years, you know, and it's a great feeling to have that sort of sense of being, sense of belonging.
Yes.
So for me, that's what's great. It's a sense of belonging.
Yeah, I do understand that, because when I go back to Norfolk and I go back to Norwich, and I have a huge sense of belonging, and the history in the UK, it's all around you, and it's part of you, you know, and it really, I do actually really understand that. And every time I go back and I explore different things, and as you say, find out new things, new places to visit, and new things about those places, and it just makes you, it's just home, isn't it? It's just
and I think it's also your own memories that are added to that, you know, like when I go back, you know, you kind of think about certain things that you've done for a long time, but then you'll go back to a place and it'll bring back memories all again, and it's kind of like you say, like it's a part of you.
Yes.
And I think anyone can relate to that if you grew up in kind of one area, like we kind of all did. You know, that kind of feeling of,
and your ancestors, you feel, you know, that you've got all that history with people as well as buildings and places, you know. You know, you've got generations upon generations, as we have, of, you know, ancestors who lived there too, so it does really feel
that's right.
important to you. I did
a video recently on the area of Norwich called Tombland. In fact, there's a book called Tombland that I'm reading at the moment, which is a novel based around that area. And I think as I was there taking photos and putting this video together, I thought to myself, you know, this area, this shape of area has been here for over 1,000 years, and that's quite staggering. You know, and I put a load of maps into the video going back in time, and you can see that the shape of that area had not changed. And so coming to what you were saying there about people, yes, you know, people have walked those same steps that I was doing in making this video.
Yeah.
We have a lovely comment from John and Cara who say, John, watching your channel on the TV, we are going to love your channel. We are crazy for history and the UK. And Omar Faraway says, I totally understand the feeling of home when visiting your home country, Julie.
Yes. And I'm actually flying out tomorrow to Norfolk, England. So
suitingly, yeah.
Yes, for a visit. So but we've recorded lots of things for the channel, and we'll also be recording in the UK with the help of John's camera, please.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we thought we'd ask you live. You couldn't say no.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be getting some footage from Norwich too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, John and Cara, for that lovely message.
Yeah.
Nice. Please check out John's channel. It is really good. Very professional.
Yes.
Oh dear. So okay. So what are your goals for your channel, and have you got your short-term and long-term goals?
I think the short-term one is one of consolidation. It feels that I need to put a video out every couple of weeks, which is what I do, because, you know, looking at the graphs you get, you see it tailing off at the end of the 2-week period and then picking up again for the next one. So I think that sort of consolidation will, you know, make it sustainable, hopefully, for the long term. I think in the long term, I'd like it to really be, and I mean, this sounds probably very big-headed of me, and I don't mean it to do so, but I see what George Plunkett did for me over well, not for me, but, you know, I see what he's done and how it's benefited me over a 70-year period of taking these photos. I would like to see my channel survive that sort of length of time, and be of use to people in the future as well, as they refer back to the things I've done, and beyond that, within my videos, to the things that George Plunkett and others have done as well.
Yeah, that's a wonderful legacy.
That's lovely.
Yeah, exactly.
And just, I don't know if you did this on purpose, Dad, but you started your channel during a time of such change for the city with the pandemic and, you know, things shifting and moving and unfortunately closing. And I think it's something that people are going to want to look back on as a time of shift in the city, not necessarily all negative, but definitely some. And then what's going to happen after, hopefully, as things start to reopen.
It's very interesting because I did actually start it with a video where I just happened to be wandering around the city, and we were in lockdown, and this was my daily exercise. You were allowed to walk for an hour, and so I thought, well, I'll record this on my camera. And so that was the very first one that I did. The thing that probably has surprised me, you know, it's only been going a year, but some of the things within that year that I have recorded have disappeared.
You're out of date already.
In that time.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the city probably has disappeared.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Debenhams, which has been going for, I don't know, 100 years, a big department store, yeah.
I started about Debenhams.
So am I, yeah. I used to love going in Debenhams, yeah. So, I mean, that site has been, you know, occupied for 100, 200, I don't know, 200 years nearly, hasn't it? So, and then now it's empty, I presume.
Yeah, it is, and it's not just that. There are other things as well that are happening. I can't think of them offhand. The things that, yeah, I look back on some of the videos I've done. I think, well, that's not there. You know, it's gone. It's disappeared.
Yeah, well, it's incredible, isn't it? Such a short space of time, such a lot of change, both, as Lucy said, positive and negative, which is really very interesting to capture, and that, you know, people will be interested in, you know, in years to come, to actually look at that and see how it was and how it changed. And, you know, I mean, that when you went and around Norwich during lockdown, the first lockdown, it wasn't eerie. There was no sounds. There was nobody around.
I can remember the only sound I heard at one stage was my footsteps echoing.
Yeah.
And this was 12 o'clock midday on a Monday, you know, and you just wouldn't get that sort of thing in normal times.
Yeah.
So it's been a really odd period. Tomorrow is have what is loosely called freedom, when everything goes back to normal, but whether it does or not remains to be seen.
Oh my goodness, I know. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, I hope you get back to normal tomorrow.
Be good timing for you, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, yeah.
John and Cara say, so happy to hear you're taking your trip, Julie.
Thank you, guys. Yes, I'm really excited. Yes, thank you.
And they also say, John, you were a fabulous narrator.
Oh. Did you hear that, John? Oh, yeah. Being modest.
I did hear that. Thank you very much. But I don't want to be standing in front of a camera.
You're just going to have to remain an enigma.
Yeah.
And Omar Faraway says, happy days, Julie. Awesome news.
Thank you,
oh,
Nita.
And the lovely Molly's here.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, Molly Makes says, hi, Lucy's dad. And Molly says,
hi.
Hi. Molly says, is England locked down for people coming in? I'll let you guys answer that.
Did you hear that, John? Is England locked down for people coming in?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. No, say it again.
Is England locked down for people coming in?
Well, I'll start answering it. Yeah.
Well, we've got what we call red, amber, and green list countries, and it's you know, if you're coming from a green list country, I think everything is okay. If you're coming from an amber, I think you have to self-isolate at home.
Yes.
Or at the place you go to.
That would be me.
And if you come from a red country, I think you have to self-isolate in a hotel. So I think everything is open in that sense, but different sorts of isolation, depending on where you're coming from.
Yes, because I'm going to have to self-isolate. Oh, well, actually, at my daughter Katie and Aaron's house, they've got me for several days, and you have to take 2 tests, and day 2 and day 8, and I've applied for a test to release after the 5th day. So if I pass all those hurdles, then I can be released early into the world. If not, I shall have to hunker down a bit longer. But yeah, it's all a bit scary at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you've got any questions for John, let us know. John, what topics what topics have inspired you to make videos, and what topics in the future are you going to choose for your videos about Norwich?
Well, what I'm trying to do, what I think I've just succeeded in doing today, in fact, is to have got 2 videos, one for this coming Thursday and one for 2 weeks after that, that means that they are completed. That then gives me a period of about 5 weeks, I think. Have I worked that out right? I can't remember. Quite a long period anyway, where I can produce the one beyond that, which is a more complicated one. The more complicated one is about sports venues, which involves a whole load of pictures and information that I've been sent to put together in a video, along with my own photos that I'll be taking and so on. So that's the 3rd one in line. The first one is about Bishop Bridge Road and Rosary Road. That's quite an interesting one, because it's an area which people might think, well, I don't really even know where that is. It's not something I'm particularly familiar with. But actually, it's got some very interesting stories to it.
I imagine, because that bridge is, well, medieval, isn't it? There's lots of medieval buildings there. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. I love all the historical stories.
Really, just at the bottom of Mousehole. And then I've got one sort of in 2 weeks' time, which I've completed today, on County Hall.
Oh.
Where I used to work.
I used to work there too.
I have spent the odd day working there. I think everyone's been there for a day or 2 at some point.
Oh, that will be an interesting thing. Are you going to get any stories from actual ex-employees?
No.
Probably wise.
No, it's all about what was there before County Hall.
Right.
And that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever remember going up into the woods in the mysterious arch.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating. It's always interesting, isn't it, when you look at somewhere and you think, wow, I can't believe this was here before, you know, like an old monastery, and there's only just a little part of it, or, you know, and it's fascinating that what it looks like now and what it looked like, you know, say 40 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, you know.
And some of it you'd still recognise, you know, bits of it. And some of it is not.
It's such a difficult concept to grasp, isn't it? That years ago, you know, is still there in that shape, like Tombland is. You know, that's such a long time. And yet another side of that equation, if you like, is, well, why would it change? You know, there are some areas which clearly don't change, and others do change quite dramatically.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Just a quick change of subject. Molly says 80s next, ladies.
Oh,
sorry, off topic, lol, she says.
Okay, we'll be prepared.
Is it okay if I quickly shout out what we've been doing, Dad? Just very briefly, because we've got a group of friends. A group of friends on YouTube. All of us YouTubers are in a little group, and we're going through the decades, making a video about each decade. We've just done the 50s, and we're going forward and backwards in time like this. And the next one is the 80s. which is probably my favorite. I'm obsessed with the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad's gone. He didn't like that.
Oh yes, so yes, that exciting, Molly. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
thank you for
Yes,
that.
yes, Dad's obviously pressed a button by mistake, but hopefully he'll be
Hopefully we'll
back.
get him back.
Yeah,
It's all been a bit crazy this morning with
Yes.
the technical stuff.
And
but-
have seen your question, John and Cara, so we will ask John that question when
Yeah.
he hopefully makes it back again.
Let's do Molly's first. Molly says, we do want to travel to England. Oh, probably not until next year, and then maybe Paris.
Paris. Oh, he's back.
The same vacation. That
Yeah.
sounds wonderful, Molly.
Oh, it
Fingers
does.
crossed.
Yes, yes. Let's hope you get to do that trip.
Are you with us, Dad?
Can you hear us?
Just about. I heard Molly wants to make a trip.
Yes.
To the UK, I'll take it, not to Norwich particularly.
To England.
To England.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, let us know which cities you want to see, Molly. Don't feel obliged to say Norwich. And John and Cara have a question for you, Dad. John, how long does it take to research for your videos? Good question.
Well, in doing one every 2 weeks, it has followed a pattern. It's sort of developed into a pattern, which is firstly getting the ideas. I've got a list of ideas, so I will sort of think, well, I'll do that one next, and then getting all the old photos and doing the new photos to compare. And it's not actually photos necessarily that I'm comparing. You know, I will use videos as well because I think it's quite good to get movement into that sort of thing as well. So yeah, collecting the information, putting it together on the Filmora sort of grid, as it were, and then actually going through that and doing the audio. That's the bit which takes longest, I think.
Yeah.
Going through and doing the audio requires you to think about what you're going to be saying and research even what you're going to be saying. You might have had an inkling when you found the photos originally and when you went out to do the filming, but you know to actually put it together in words is the thing that takes longest.
Yeah. And do you find that if you say something, not necessarily even wrong, but just slightly, you know, people will like jump on it? We find that sometimes if we're doing something quite involved, that people love to tell you when you're just slightly off, which is wonderful, really. But it makes you want to get it bang on right.
It is difficult, isn't it? Because, you know, even the best, I don't know, newsreaders or whatever, will make mistakes as they go through it. Of course, they're doing it live, and I'm not. I can go back and re-record something, and it depends how badly it comes out, really, as to whether I'll re-record it or not.
Yeah. Flower Eggs and News just kind of second what you're saying. They say, and how long does it take to edit? I find that always takes us the most amount of time. Is that kind of what you found too?
Yeah, that's right. I think that the editing and the putting things into a logical order is more difficult with some subjects than others. So I mentioned those two videos I've got coming up, Bishop Bridge Road and County Hall. And on one, you're literally just following the road. So in getting things into a logical order, it's dead easy. It's as you do it, really. But with the other one, County Hall, it's not the same. You're going from a part of it here to a part of it over there, and so on, as you try and record the various things that may or may not interest people.
Yes, that must be difficult sometimes to put things in a logical order and have to keep switching around, and also you want to really start with a bit of an oomph, don't you? Do you find that, you know, your intros, do you sort of film it all and then think, oh, that's a good bit, I'll have it as an intro? Or do you think, I know what would make a good intro, let me start with this and get everyone sort of, in, what's the word, hooked.
It's trying to put it all together from the word go. Sometimes I will change an order as I'm going through it, bring something to the big. But generally, it's a question of working it all out as you do it. What I like, I suppose, is how those sort of little concepts that you have in your mind of how it should work can then be put into the video, and it's almost like drip feeding it. From the word go, as you're collecting the information, you're thinking, well, that would be good to go first, and so it does go first, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe something else during the process has come in at an earlier stage. So I like the way it develops each time from sort of a very rough idea of I will look at this area to something that hopefully forms a logical story.
Yes, I understand. Yes.
And that flexibility is lovely with Filmora. You can just chop it around if you want to, or because sometimes things don't necessarily sound or appear how you imagine, and you think, oh no, that's not what I thought it was going to be. I'll change that.
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions, but first let's say hi to Dave and Kathy.
Hi, Dave and Kathy.
Hi, Dave and Kathy. Okay, Dave and Kathy.
Thanks for joining us.
First question is, Molly wants to know, what camera do you use in recording?
I use this camera. That's conveniently placed beside me.
You were ready for that question. What is it?
It's a Sony Vario Sonar. I don't know. It wasn't particularly expensive, but it was certainly a notch up from using my phone, and does seem to do the job pretty well. I've bought myself, in terms of equipment that I use, I've bought a new laptop to use. And that's
which is the problem today.
Yeah, if you don't know, we've had technical issues. John's laptop, brand new, all singing and dancing, doesn't like Zoom, so he's now on his phone. So we had a few issues, but anyhow, we got you on.
So the laptop. I've also got a new microphone that I think took me a little time to get used to. And what I found I was doing was I was recording what I was thinking I was saying, and then as I finished a sentence, I'd move away from it, and so it faded. So now I know, and I've got into the habit of reading reading everything into that microphone without moving away from it, and it's fine. It's great.
That does take a little bit of practice. I know, because I started podcasting, my head moves a lot when I'm talking. I move naturally, and you can't do that because you do, like you say, you get louder and quieter, and then bits will trail off, and you have to try and stay very still, which does take practice. I know. And
I think I've got all the equipment now to a reasonable standard that is allowing us to be again of a reasonable standard.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah. And we'll just say hi to Sean. Sean's here from the Sensational Gent. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Sean.
And if you have just joined, this is my dad. John and Cara say, sorry if I missed this, John. What is your background? Historian, teacher? What is your background, Dad?
It's not really, but I've always been interested in history. And I think the thing about history is you need to be old like me in order to join it all together, if that makes sense. Because I think when you're at school and when you're young, you just learn a particular story that might have happened in a given year. And it's only when you get older that you can put them all together, and it starts to make some sort of sense. So yeah, I think I'm just interested in history, and I always have been from, you know, even when I was at school, it was always my favourite subject. But at that time, you know, the various events that they were sort of talking about didn't really give any sort of coherency as to how things developed. But I think I'm now just about beginning to understand that.
And do you think, you know, like people say, you know, we need to learn history to learn from it? Do you think there's that's something that is relevant, or do you just think? Do you think of a, you know, should we learn history for another reason?
Well, I think you can obviously learn it because you're interested in the past, but it explains how we got to where we are today. And that's, in a sense, you know, where my videos are coming from. They are explaining where we are today at this moment and how we got there. Yeah, I think without history, you don't really understand where you've come from.
Yeah. I think it's really important myself. Yeah, and we never seem to, but we should learn from the mistakes of the past.
Yeah.
And
I think, like, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but when you're in school and you're young, you don't have any sense of time. You've been on the planet, what, like 10 years? Like, you don't have any, you don't know about time passing yet. Everything feels like a long time. A day feels like a long time. But as you get older, you're able to put that into perspective and relate to it a bit more, I think. And
yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I always had the impression that history in the UK began in 1066. You know, there was time before that, and there was certainly time after it.
Yeah.
You know, it is such a massive subject that it is difficult to put it into any sort of concept, really. But I do think and it probably applies to a lot of subjects as well, doesn't it? It's understanding where those subjects came from. Same with, say, I don't know, geography. You know, you might know about a particular area, but do you know how it fits into the rest of that country, that continent, or the world?
Yeah, because nothing's in isolation, is it? It's all connected to everything else.
That's right.
Yeah, and Molly kind of seconds that a bit. She says, actually, everything starts making sense as we get older, and then again, nothing makes sense. Isn't that the truth, Molly?
Yeah, that is the truth, Molly. Yeah, that's true. Yes, very true.
Yeah. I'll just say hi to Paul Gaming.
Hi, Paul.
He says, hey, you three legends. Hi, Paul.
Hi, legend yourself.
Yeah. Paul's been doing some wonderful Brit Girls shout outs on his channel this week and previously as well, actually.
Yes.
So thank you, Paul. We do appreciate that and we're enjoying it very much.
Yes, thank you. It means a lot to us. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. And John and Cara say, we are the same with history and researching and visiting historical sites. It's like a rabbit hole. Everything connects and it never stops.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Yeah. What I really like, John, when I watch your videos and I look down at the comments, and it's very touching because I'll see somebody comment and they say, oh, thank you so much. I have just seen a picture of the house my grandparents lived in, and I've never seen that before. Or my great grandfather was the landlord at that pub that's, you know, no longer there. Or can you actually find some information out about such and such a road or such and such a place? I mean, that must be very, very endearing to you to have that response from people.
It's fantastic. It makes it worthwhile, really. I mean, to begin with, I was doing this channel really for myself, to occupy myself, if you like. But the reaction from people is, you know, really touching. So the last video that I put out it was called Under the Flyover, and it was about the area that is now occupied by Norwich's one and only flyover. And somebody said that they had lived in a house up to I think the age of 5 that was demolished as a result of the flyover being built over it. And somebody else said, that's fantastic. That's where his wife, I think, deceased wife, grew up. You know, and you realise that actually you're touching people's lives with this. But it's not, is it? I mean, I have to keep saying, I will keep saying, it's George Plunkett. You know, he's the person who's inspired me to do it with his 70 years of photos. And it's really those photos, but putting them into a logical order that is what is, you know, meaning a lot to people. Really.
Yeah, it makes it more 3D. You know, when you see photos, and then but you put them together with video and maps and pictures of how it is now, it creates a more of a 3D moving image so that people can actually get the feel of what the whole place was like rather than just a 2D picture, you know. So I think it uses that, but brings it that stage further and collates it all together, collates all that information from his photos and other people's photos and things that recent pictures that you've done and video, and brings all that together, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing to be involved with, and the incredible thing is I don't really see it stopping. You know, you think Norwich is not a big city, and you would think, well, haven't you done it yet? You know, but actually, there's so many things that people have come up with ideas for, and ideas from my own point of view, that, you know, it will take a while to complete. As I say, I hope when it's complete, it will stand there as something that you know, people can use as a reference work, if you like, in the future.
Yeah, and like you said before, like things change all the time in the city. They're changing now, like, and your earlier videos might even need redoing, Dad, as things change and you have to update things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can just revisit areas. So yeah, you can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Molly's asked for the link to your channel. I'm sorry, something's gone wrong with our live today. It doesn't usually happen. I think the description has been wiped for some reason. But we're going to redo it.
Yeah, maybe if you retype it again.
So I think, Dad, your channel's just called John Atkins, isn't it? But if you type in John Atkins Lost Norwich into YouTube, and that'll come up, and Dad is zip wiring in his picture. Because there are a few John Atkinses on YouTube.
Yeah, don't sign up to the wrong one.
Yeah,
you don't know what you'll get. Yeah.
So but we will put it in the description as well.
We will redo it. We just have no idea what's happened this time, and this has never happened before. So bear with, and we will do that.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Flarix and you should say that. Flarix and you say, Sean, you should go on this show, and we were actually just talking about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sean, not to worry you, but we will be reaching out soon if you want to come back.
We want you back.
Yeah, we want you back.
Yeah, we want you back. Please come back. And,
yes.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And just quickly, before we ask the next question, next week, Share the Love Sunday will be with the fabulous Nomadic Trio. They have been on before, but a long time ago. And they actually travel around America in their RV with their little boy.
Yeah,
and they are such fun people, and we are really excited to have them on the show next week.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes.
Sean
says he's ready.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, so if you have a question for Dad, now would be a great time to pop it in the chat whilst I ask him our last question that we ask to everybody. Dad, if you could take everything that you've learned on your YouTube journey since starting your channel and put it into one piece of advice for someone who's thinking of starting a YouTube channel, or maybe someone who's just started their YouTube journey, what advice would you give someone who's new to YouTube?
I would say, firstly, the number one thing is enjoy it. Don't ever let it become a chore where you have to sort of think, oh, I've got to do another one now. You know, I know you're always being told, aren't you, to release videos on a particular day, that sort of thing. But I don't really think that matters. Having said that, that's what I do. I release a video every 2 weeks on a Thursday, but I'm not hung up about that. If it didn't happen for any reason, you know, so be it. So enjoy it. Make sure it's a subject that you enjoy, and make sure you don't overburden yourself with it. You can look at statistics that YouTube supply, and they give you so much information, and you think, oh, where's all this coming from? And you can get a bit sort of down, I suppose, as you see that not many people watching your latest video. But actually, at the end of the day, as long as you're enjoying putting them together, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
We
That's
do
so
look at you
important.
as an example, because you're like, just your nature is so chilled out. And like, I think that really does help, you know, if you take that attitude towards YouTube, like we were saying earlier, because people sense when you're enjoying it, they sense when you're having a good time making your videos, and then they are more likely to enjoy it as well, as opposed to you sitting there all stressed that you've got to release a video. So sometimes it's easier said than done, but yes, you do have to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Yeah. It's easy to get so wrapped up in the stats and, you know.
I love a statistic.
I know. You can't help yourself, can you? No, we'll be sitting here and Lucy go, oh, let's just see what's the subscribers.
Can't help it.
And then she'll come up with some fabulous statistic, and I go, oh, I didn't know you could find that out.
There's this really interesting new thing that YouTube's doing where it'll tell you other channels that your subscribers are watching. So we've just seen that. I guess it's new, unless I just haven't noticed it, but we're going to check out these channels that our subscribers are also watching. So that'll be interesting to see why
they're watching us.
And you said that was your first bit of advice, Dad. Do you have another bit, or are we gone to sleep? We were talking for too long.
Are you receiving us?
Well, honestly, thank you so much for everyone for coming today. Thank you for bearing with us as we struggled with our technology. Thank you to everyone who subbed to Dad.
Yes, thank you.
We know that you'll enjoy his channel, and if you can't find it, we'll put it in the description after this. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for being a great guest, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Or we'll see you on the family Skype after this.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.